Imagine seeing the world with enhanced perception, patterns, math, augmented memory, an amplified ability to see the truth of things and articulate it without equivocation. Sound like a superpower? It might be. 1 in 54 children in the U.S. are diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder, and the spectrum is as far as it is wide. Today, we're going to get one insider look at a world through the eyes of one pretty incredible 11-year-old and his pretty amazing mom. Amateur theme park critic, swim master, Lego engineer, Evan Hunley, and supermom Ellen Hunley. Thanks for coming on the show. Did you know that you are the first kid that I've ever had on the podcast?
Really?
Really.
Oh, okay.
How does that make you feel?
Makes me feel special.
Well, you are, pretty much, so.
Pretty much.
So I have going to list some special abilities that some people on the autism spectrum have, and I'd love to tell me what you think your superpowers are. Mm-hmm. Does that sound like a fun game?
It sounds like a fun game.
Yeah, okay. So detail-focused, hyper-systemized, enhanced perception, ability to access less processed information that exists in all human brains, but not normally available to conscious awareness. What do you think your superpowers are?
Well, I think I have nerves of steel.
Nerves of steel?
Yeah, because I've been going on some pretty insane roller coasters. There's Steel Vengeance, Millennium Force, Top Thrill Dragster.
Wow. Are these all at Disney World?
No, at Cedar Point.
Cedar Point?
Yeah, those are all at Cedar Point.
Oh, I'm
not... A place in Mason, Ohio. You should go there one day.
Cleveland. Sandusky.
Sandusky, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm a big fan of water slides.
It has water slides too. That's a theme park. A water park and a theme park.
Oh, okay. Well, so Nerves of Steel, based on your extensive roller coaster experiences.
Yeah, there's some pretty awesome ones out there.
What makes you love roller coasters so much?
Well, it all began where me and Mom went to Disney World. We decided to go ride on a roller coaster. My first one was Barnstormer. You know, the goofy ride.
Okay.
And my face was like a poker face the whole way through.
Wow.
Yeah, like...
How old were you?
I think I was 3.
But you remember?
Yeah, I remember. I think I remember a little bit. And then I just started riding more and more. And then I made it to the top ones. And that's why I love roller coasters.
Wow. It sounds like... what now?
Because who doesn't?
Well, not everyone loves roller coasters. But I like them, but I'm a big fan of water slides. And you asked me to tell you what my favorite roller coaster was. And you know what I found out?
What?
It's the Montu at Busch Gardens.
Ooh, yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
There are so many feet choppers.
Well, I like it because your feet are dangling and you feel nice and safe and like compressed into the seat and not like you're gonna fall out of the roller coaster. I don't like the ones where they're wooden and you look like you're gonna get bolted out any moment.
Oh, don't worry, they designed them so they especially don't.
Do you think you would ever design a roller coaster?
Yes, I'm actually planning to become an Imagineer when I grow up.
What's an Imagineer?
Oh, it's like a Disney worker.
Wow. What would you do as an Imagineer?
What do I do? Oh, I just make rides, design robots.
So kind of engineering?
Yeah, kind of engineering.
I could see that. I think one of the things I've noticed from hanging out with you at Sea Stars is that you are really good at noticing patterns. Have you noticed that about yourself?
Yeah, I notice a whole lot of patterns. Like, every time I'm a little bit bored, I try to look at something and try to understand what the pattern is.
What kind of patterns did you see on the way here and when you got here today?
Well, you see, there are a lot of bricks and there's holes and bricks lining up to make holes, or the holes come up to make bricks. Yeah, sort of like that.
And you see patterns in water too, I've noticed. When we were at the water park, when we went to Dothan with the Sea Star swim team.
You mean a water world?
Yes, gosh, you have. Can I just like have you all the time to remind me of the things I've forgotten? Because my memory is definitely not as good as yours. When we were at Waterworld, it's a wave pool, and all the other kids were hanging on for dear life to their swim things, you know, the inner tubes or whatever. And there you were, giving me a heart attack, bobbing in and out of the water, your head going up and down. And then I soon realized that you had noticed the patterns of the waves, and what looked like chaos to everybody else, you had realized was actually okay to let the water pull you down, because it would actually pull you back up, and you had like dialed it in.
Yeah, that's because I like wave pool, so it feels satisfying going up and down and up and down.
Mm-hmm. And swimming has been a big part of your life with Sea Stars, right?
I know, I've been going there for half my life.
Well, tell everyone what Sea Stars is.
Well, Sea Stars is like this. It's like this swimming pool at the Salvation Army, and kids with autism swim there. And sometimes we could go on vacations like the Dolphin, Vortex Springs, and Waterworld. And we only got one first place trophy. Dolphin.
I remember, and I was there when you called your mom and said, "We did it! We won!"
Our first trophy.
And that competition, it's important to note that was against teams of neurotypical kids. So it was just an amazing, amazing moment. It made us all freak out, and Coach Robin cried a little, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, we're going to tell on her. Sea Stars has been a great organization for me to volunteer with, but I know that it's particularly meaningful to parents as well. So can you kind of share what Sea Stars has done for you as it relates to raising Evan and making adjustments in your family?
Oh my gosh. So like Evan said, he's been in Sea Stars for half his life. The first time he went, he was screaming so hard and he wouldn't participate that I wound up jumping in the water fully clothed. I didn't know what to do, and that was kind of my solution, make him stop.
So you just like kind of freaked out and wanted him to stop crying and screaming
and crying, and it was difficult, and he was screaming and crying. I wouldn't let anybody touch him, and so I jumped in, got him, and it's okay. It's not embarrassing because you got better. And so that was the first time we tried it, and we didn't go back for a while. And then we decided to give it another try almost a year later, and he's been going since. And it's so amazing for him to be a part of something where he was accepted. Those first few years were not easy. There was a lot of screaming. There was a lot of crying. There was a lot of just meltdowns. And he was able to put that together and focus it in the water. There was something about the water that zoned him in, and he was able to do it without losing his stuffing, so to speak. And then he started learning how it worked and what the rules are. And Coach Robin and her coaches there have been outstanding with him. They've been patient with him, yet strict. He can't just do whatever he wants. But it's neat to have the ability for him to be a part of something, because kids like this don't get to be parts of sports a lot because they don't follow, and I'm making a generalized statement here, but he doesn't follow rules very well. He doesn't understand, playing with other kids, what distance is or what rules are. And swim, it's very focused. You go from one end of the pool to the other, and you learn the rules as you go, but it's just been something that he's been able to shine in. And so it's been such a valuable asset and part of our lives and his life as well.
Because those skills carry over into
Absolutely.
other areas of life. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I have this theory, and Evan, I would love to hear your opinion on it. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not I don't think I thought of this theory. I think it's floating around in the interwebs as well. But there's this theory that part of the specialness of the in the genes that cause autism spectrum disorder are also part of the evolution of our species, which basically means like you're an X-Man. Do you know what X-Men are?
Seen the films.
Yeah. So the X-Men, they have superpowers, right? And they were born with them. And at first, it was kind of awkward. They didn't know how to hone in on their superpowers. They didn't know how to control them and use them to their advantage. And then as they grew and developed and became a part of the X-Men team, then they learned how to use their superpowers and they help other people with their superpowers. So basically, I'm thinking we need to get you a superhero outfit.
No, thank you.
If you were an X-Men or superpower or superhero, what superhero name would you give yourself?
I honestly don't know.
What if your mom was a superhero? What name would you give her?
This might sound a little lame, but Super Mom.
I think that's a pretty good one, actually. I've got some listener questions. One of them was about making friends. And what's the best way that you have found to make friends, both with people on the autism spectrum and neurotypical kids?
Well, it's just that I meet them, and as we get together along the year, we become closer and closer until we become friends.
So if you see someone, like, pretend this is not a antique trolley, pretend this is like a real bus, and you see someone and he's looking at you and you're looking at him, how do you break the ice? What do you like to do to kind of start that friendship?
Well, normally I don't start friends on the bus. That was before. It was before I started going on the bus, but I made friends before going on the bus.
Oh, like the school bus?
Yeah, the school bus. Riding on the school bus is a little new for me because I just started it this year.
Okay.
And since you know what happened, I haven't got much time to ride on some.
That's true. That's true. If you, when you started meeting other kids at Sea Stars, what was that like for you to meet other kids that also saw the world like you saw the world?
I really don't know. I can't remember.
You can't remember all those things you remember, but you don't remember that?
Yeah, I just can't remember. Do you remember, Mom?
You just introduce yourself to people when you he'll introduce himself to adults like that and say hello to adults like that. With other kids, you go up to other kids too, but sometimes he's a little slower at that than he is with adults.
I'm trying to remember when we met.
He's not shy.
But no, not at all. But it's busy at Sea Stars. So it's kind of, I can see where it'd be hard to remember because I'm trying to remember when you and I first met. I just remember thinking, man, all these kids swim better than me. So that can be tough. So another thing that can be tough is sometimes with a person on the autism spectrum, things can be overwhelming, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
What do you do when things feel overwhelming to help you feel not overwhelmed?
Well, normally I don't get overwhelmed at all. That's the solution. Just don't get overwhelmed at all.
Would you agree with that, Ellen?
So we've had to have discussions where sometimes he's not around people that can help him collect himself, and so we're trying to come up with things that he can do to calm himself down when there's not a responsible adult in the room. And believe it or not all adults are capable of helping him to zone it in. So we've talked about breathing. Yes?
Yes.
And thinking, I got this.
Yes.
Until it passes, and then maybe excusing yourself and going somewhere that's a little bit quieter. Bathroom or a quiet place. Sometimes you have to excuse yourself, right?
Right.
Those are great tips. I think I might use those tips, actually.
Okay.
Well, you shared with me before, Ellen, that speaking of moments where you need to collect yourself, that there was a time where extraordinary kindness was showed to you, and it was so memorable to me. Could you share it?
We were at some sort of festival. He was much younger, and we had to do things again and again and again. Perseveration is something that it's a trait of kids with autism. They have to repeat things. And we found this tractor hayride thing, and we wrote it again got off, got back on, got off, got back on. And finally the guy driving the tractor said, you've ridden this enough. You can't anymore. And Evan lost it, just totally. It was screaming and kicking and biting. And those were moments I don't wish to repeat. But other people were, giving me looks, and people were saying, you need to calm him down. You need to discipline him. I mean, they were telling me that they thought I needed to discipline him. And, I'm just trying to keep it together myself as I'm trying to carry this kicking, screaming bundle of muscle back to the car. And this woman stops me. She says, would you like a lollipop? And that was 8-9 years ago. And I still remember it. Just somebody saying, hey, this lady needs help. Maybe I'll see if I can offer her something instead of criticizing or giving her a look. And that is just something that sticks with me, that somebody did something that nice. She didn't know me. She didn't know our situation, but she offered something that calmed him down. It worked.
Yeah.
So
offered help instead of offering advice. Yeah. What do you wish other parents knew who are even maybe where you were 8 years ago with Evan?
I'd like to tell everybody it gets better. For me, it has. For Evan, it has. But I think, and I'm not sure if this is connected or not, did it get better because I finally accepted it and stopped saying, this is how it should be. This is what my expectation was. This is what you have to do. Instead, I started thinking, this is who you are, and we're going to find other people, and we're going to find things that you do well in, and that's how we're going to be. And maybe with that acceptance is when it started to get easier.
That's cool. That's huge. That's a huge insight, because I wasn't just giving the X-Men analogy to be silly. Like I do think about that. I think about, I just remember the first time we met.
I remember too.
Okay, you go first.
Well, actually, we met in the. Actually, no, I just wanted to say that.
Fair enough. I appreciate your honesty. We first met at a Sea Stars banquet, and I sat with you guys at the table, and you were doing something at the table, and I looked at you and I said, is he into engineering or something to that effect? And you were like, how did you know? And I could just see your how your brain was working, because my husband works in engineering, and it's just as to quote the Liam Neeson movie, it's a specific set of skills, right? And your brain works a certain way to see patterns, and it's so important that in this world we have people who see these patterns, because get this, everything is engineering.
Ooh.
Everything. This building, the seats we're sitting on, the technology that we're using to make this podcast episode, it's all engineering.
Okay.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah, all right.
And, this podcast, it goes a lot of different places. It even goes over in other countries and different cities and states. If there's another person out there with autism, what would you want to say to them?
I just want to say to them, you're a good guy. I couldn't think of anything else to say.
That's a really good thing. I think people need to know you're good. What do you feel like people misunderstand about you?
Misunderstand. Well, mostly people I don't think people misunderstand me.
You think people get you?
Yeah, I think people get me because I have autism.
Yeah. What do you misunderstand about people sometimes? Anything?
Well, that they can sometimes be jerks. Sometimes, but not every time, but just sometimes.
How do you tell if they're a jerk or not?
Well, they're bullying someone or making fun of me. Yeah, sometimes I think I have more enemies than I can count.
You think?
Not really. I was hoping that you'd laugh.
Oh, okay. I thought that sounded serious, so I was concerned.
No, I thought you would just laugh. Say, is this going on video?
Yeah, it's on video and audio, so you'll get to watch this. Won't that be fun?
Yeah, but my eye's a little itchy.
You can itch it. There you go.
Ellen, when you were finished, congratulations, by the way. Aren't you officially graduated?
Friday.
Friday.
And tell everyone what your degree is in. And how many degrees this is.
This is my second master's. This one is in speech language pathology.
And you did a thesis with Evan or
He
on
was
Evan?
one of my projects that I did on Evan. And I went back and I collected all the old notes from his old therapist and his school reports. And oh my gosh, he's come so far. It was so neat to see how far he's in. When you're in it, it just seems like you're never going to get out of it when you have a kid who has special needs. And then you can look back and you're like, wow, he's come so far.
That might actually be a great tip. So parents out there, write a thesis. How did that process change your parenting style?
I think it forced me to stay optimistic. That if you stick with it and you work with them and not against them and not forcing them to be what you think they need to be, that they'll come around.
That's a good outlook for sure. All right, I have some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Are you ready? Are you focused?
Yeah, I'm focused.
Okay. If you could have any ability, see through walls, read people's minds, any ability at all, what ability would you want to have?
Well, actually, I would like to have super speed, but I heard that if you go too fast, you can actually catch on fire.
That's probably true. So you'd want to have a measurable, controllable amount of super speed.
Yeah, measurable control super speed, so I don't catch on flames.
Okay. What are your goals with swimming?
What my goals for swimming? Well, I'm hoping next year we win another game.
I think that's a great goal. What do you love about your mom?
She cares for me. She loves me. She cares for me. She does everything for me.
And what, other than an Imagineer, so that's like what you want to do for a job when you grow up, what kind of person do you want to be when you grow up?
A nice one. But maybe as my high school job, I could be a lifeguard.
Oh, that's a great idea. That would be
What
fantastic.
are they called? A lifeguard? It's
Yeah.
Lifesaver?
No, lifeguard. Yeah, and you can actually, they have a thing called junior lifeguards. Did you know that?
Yeah, that's what Coach Robin told me about.
Oh, well, you're already done the research. All right, then. That sounds great. Well, before we wrap up, are there any thoughts that you want to leave us with, Ellen?
I think having this blessing in my life, I do love you, buddy. I don't think we always get what we expect when we decide to have kiddos. And I think that's true of a person with a special needs kid or a neurotypical kid. We don't get what we expect, but if we love them and enjoy who they are instead of what we expected them to be, that all works out.
Preach.
I feel
That
pretty
is
blessed.
good.
Yeah.
Evan, do you have any words or thoughts that you want to leave us with?
Well, there are two. Number one, if you have the chance, put this on Disney Plus.
Okay. And number two?
And number two, when number two, we can win.
We can win. That's great. Well, I enjoy watching you win, and I'm so glad that all three of us met because I think life is better. I think everyone should know you, and I'm so happy that my listeners will get to know both of you, and they will be the better for it, and hopefully they will win. So awesome. High five, guys. That's a wrap.
Oh, air high five.
Oh, air high five. Good. Air high five. Awesome. I love it. Great.